Good morning and welcome to another session from Bind of Investor Matching. So today we have two investors, Caixa Capital Risk and Lumo Labs, and in the end four startups. One of them's unable to come in the end. Just to give you a quick brief explanation of what we're going to do today is I'll give a quick intro into Bind, and then we'll bring on David from Caixa Capital Risk and Meron from Lumo Labs, who will quickly talk through how their funds work, what their thesis is, what they invest in. And then we'll bring on the four startups, and we've got 3 to 4 minutes for the pitch, and then we've got 5 to 6 minutes for questions from the investors to the startups. If anyone from the audience has a question, please feel free to put it in the comments of LinkedIn, and I'll add it onto screen. I'll make sure that it's answered if it hasn't already been answered. We've had questions in the past where somebody's made a question on the chat that has been asked by one of the investors, and so we put it on screen, but they haven't answered the same question twice. In terms of Bind itself, Bind is an acceleration platform for startups, very interesting for multiple reasons. They provide paid pilots from corporate partners to startups, so giving access to the corporate partners to innovative solutions to problems that they have, and obviously giving a commercial validation to the startups themselves. This helps for the investors, obviously, because there's not only is there a commercial validation of the projects that they're analyzing, but also potentially there's even a customer that they could talk to and ask them what their feedback is on the solution. Hence, we put together these investor matching sessions where we put together these investors with the startups. If you are an investor and you find this interesting, please feel free to get in touch. And we can't probably add you in this year. We've got a few sessions left, but we can add you in for next year's. And if you're a corporate or a startup that would be interested in learning more about Bind, do get in touch, because the team would be delighted to help you out either for next year's process for the startups or for the corporates. There are multiple programs that are running. This is just one of the innovation programs that's actually running. So without more ado, I can see Meron hasn't connected up yet, but I will bring David onto screen. And David, it's all yours to talk through Caixa Capital Risk, so that people know you better before we get started.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Not my first time here. It's always a pleasure to be part of these investor matching sessions, and I've known Tom for a long time, and it's always a pleasure to be here with him and also with the companies, because I know that this is something very good that Bind has, is their sourcing and the pipeline and the selection of startups that they have. So some words about myself and about Caixa Capital Risk. We are a venture capital firm based in Barcelona, and we've been around for 18 years. So I would say like since the very beginning of the startup ecosystem in Iberia. And during that time, a lot of things have evolved. And of course, also we have evolved. Nowadays, we are very focused on B2B and deep tech companies on their seed and early growth stage. I would like to mention that we are the venture capital arm of Criteria, and Criteria is an asset manager that has all the assets of Fundación La Caixa. That it's I would say, a quite large NGO doing many kind of social activities. So at the end, Criteria has all their assets, and from real estate, listed companies, and venture capital. That is what we do, with a financial scope purely. Nowadays, our initial tickets go from usually 1 to 3 million euros, being the sweet spot in 1.5 to 2 million is our initial ticket, with, of course, the ability to do follow-ons, and always looking to lead or co-lead rounds. So we try to bring the term sheet into the table, and then we look to be hands-on with the companies, to be part of the board of directors, and with focus on some specific verticals where we have more comfort, given our network, given our track record, that it's like, namely DevOps, infra, Industry 4.0, energy transition, cybersecurity, and of course AI. AI is there. We know that defensibility is a problem. Speed it's the thing that you should focus on, but of course it's so interesting, and so an inflection point that of course we are looking at it also.
Yeah, that's a change for the industry in itself, right? The growth rate of companies like Lovable. Oh my God, how do we keep up to a certain extent? So it's not just the startups that are finding it difficult, nor the corporates. Even as investors, we find that a bit of a challenge. Thank you for that, David. Meron has now connected, so I will bring Meron on the screen also. And Meron, if you'd like to do the same for Lumo Labs so that people know you better.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Meron. I'm an associate at Lumo Labs, and Lumo is an impact-driven fund, and we invest at the intersection of technology and impact. By technology, we invest on AI data, blockchain, IoT, digital security, and XR. And by impact, we invest on one of the 4 UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, good health and well-being, quality education, sustainable cities and communities, and climate action. 100 million fund investing across Europe, based at the high-tech campus in Eindhoven, or we're headquartered, but we also have hubs in Barcelona, Oslo, and Amsterdam. With our fund, or with our capital, we also have a Lumo program for our portfolio companies, where we support them on 4 pillars: product market fit, leadership, storytelling, and securing follow-on investment.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Meron. I've only been to Eindhoven once,
Yes.
which was actually to go to the UEFA Cup final of Seville against Middlesbrough. No, was it Middlesbrough or was it Sunderland? Oh, I can't even remember now. We won 4-1, so it was a good time.
Nice to
So
hear.
anyway, I will jump in with Unai, who's the first one that's going to be presenting LiveRail. Unai, you know the score. I'll be back on screen when it's time for you to finish if you haven't finished already. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. My name is Unai Alvarado, and I am the co-founder and CTO of Inspectrail, a spin-off company of SIAPS Research Center. And we help railway companies save lives and cut maintenance costs. Railway infrastructure is our focus. Maintenance is essential for guaranteeing operational efficiency and for sure safety of people. But there are problems. There are a lot of problems. And actually, railway is in the spotlight these days in Spain for bad, because trains have delays, accidents, people angry, even people dying as a consequence of some accidents. But why that happens? And it happens because poor maintenance. Is there any solution for that? And the answer is yes, to monitor its health condition, data. But let's map all the competition, all the possible solutions to monitor infrastructure and classify them by cost and data acquisition. First, we have portable solutions, cheap, but very costly in terms of operation. Then we have very sophisticated systems, sophisticated trains that cost up to 30 million euros. And then we have onboard systems that are specifically focused on a given asset, for example, the truck. On the other hand, Inspectrail offers an affordable solution that can be mounted in any railway vehicle. We provide a modular and scalable monitoring solution, offering a 360-degree view of the whole railway infrastructure. We have 2 business models. First, we sell products, a one-off, plus recurring revenue in the form of maintenance and license fees. And second, we offer full inspection as a service with a subscription fee. Our ticket size typically goes from 20K to 100K per year for a 5-year contract. We have different customer segments, from infra managers to vehicle manufacturers, and our market is huge and it is growing. Our go-to-market strategy is based on the execution of proof of concepts to validate the technology first. And we have currently in our pipeline 4.4 million in active proposals, and we plan to close deals valued in 950K for this year. This is our team. Pablo is my co-founder and CEO with a solid background managing international industrial teams. I have been working at Thait Technology Center for 20 years, leading the Railway Research Group. And Yayone and Alejandro also come from Thait, having contributed to the development of the technology. Our other partners in the cap table are Thait and Spree Venture Capital. These are our projections. We plan to grow 100% per year to reach 30+% EBITDA in year 4. And now we are fundraising and are looking for 1.2 million by the end of this second quarter of the year. And so far we have 800Ks. And we want it for developing the product and market development mainly. Why now? You may ask, because this is a good moment to invest in railway. There is a clear need, the market is growing, and now is the opportunity to contribute to an automated and digital railway. Thank you very much for your attention, and I am open for questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Unai. So I'll take off your screen, and you've got 6 minutes for questions. Just one thing for the audience, I've got a little banner rolling across the bottom, but if you do want to ask a question, feel free to put it in the comments in LinkedIn, and I'll add it to screen. And Meron, David, it's all yours. I'll be back in 6 minutes' time.
Super. Thanks for presenting. It's quite interesting. And we also look into this type of proposition because one of our focus is sustainable cities and communities. Would love to understand what the proprietary tech is behind this, because you see a lot of platforms popping up here and there. And maybe if you could start from that.
You mean the technology behind?
Yeah, not only just that, maybe what's your unfair advantage? Maybe you can also answer it broadly.
Okay, I would summarize it in the form of our 360 degrees approach. Because for sure there are solutions that are focusing on monitoring specific assets, but as a spin-off company of Thait Research Center, it is a very multidisciplinary technology center with a 40+ years experience in the railway domain. So we have inherited a lot of different technologies like railway dynamics, IoT, communications, machine vision, and things like that, that we put everything together, integrating different hardware components with a different sets of algorithms that allow us to provide this 360-degree view of the condition of the infrastructure that is not available in the market at this moment.
Okay, clear. And maybe one more follow-up question, and I leave it to David. I can imagine railway is quite a heavily regulated market. And then if you are to operate outside of your origin, how do you see the certification and compliance that will come along with it? Maybe if you could answer that in terms of broad scalability too.
Yes, you are very right. Railway is a very regulated market, but especially for safety critical functions, because all railway vehicles go through the same tracks. So it is very safety critical to control all the traffic, speed, and things like that. No, infrastructure monitoring is not a safety critical function. So the certification standards, or some of them, don't apply in this case. For sure, you need to offer a CE marking to participate in European markets, and depending on customer segments, you have to, or you might have to prove homologation with a few key performance indicators in the terms of the precision of your systems or the repeatability of your systems, of stuff like that. But it doesn't apply to all the customer segments. For example, urban operators, today I am in the offices of Metro Bilbao, don't require such normative certification. And for sure, other segments, for example, Southeast Asia, South America, that are very high evolving railway markets, don't require any kind of certification at this moment.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Unai. I was wondering about your ROIs. In terms of ROI, how your solution provides, or how can you prove somehow the benefits to your client? And I can imagine that, of course, it's OPEX reduction in terms of maintenance, or even something more difficult to quantify in terms of avoiding, for instance, delays, or that we are seeing almost every day, especially here in Catalonia. So do you have any case study of ROI of your solution against other ones?
Not yet, because it takes time. And let me explain. Current practices are, in most of the cases, you go with a manual or portable measuring device with 2-3 people walking 4-5 kilometers per hour, going tens, hundreds of kilometers, monitoring how are things at this moment. And you won't do that until next year. So in between, things happen. Now, with our solutions, you can measure continuously how are the things, and eventually anticipate problems. The thing is that we have currently a track monitoring system on board a vehicle, but this vehicle only goes for 4 times per year. So the clear benefits, in theory, because there are studies that by McKinsey and others that make a point that having condition-based maintenance strategies can save you up to 30% in operational costs, and can reduce up to 50% the number of failures that are non-planned. So this has a clear impact, not only in costs, but also in delays and safety of people. But without any system that is running continuously for 1 year, 2 years, you cannot make a clear point or quantify benefits of a continuously monitoring solution.
We've got, if you haven't got any more questions for the moment, we do have one question from the audience, which you've sort of answered. But Tim was asking the sort of maintenance. But you talked about 360-degree, but maybe you could go into a little bit more detail for him, and then we've got more time because a couple of startups fell through. So if you want to go into a bit more detail, far away.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Antim, for the question. We are focused on the maintenance of infrastructure. So we build systems that are hardware plus software that are installed in any railway vehicle, and they monitor the health condition of the infrastructure. And we offer a 360-degree view, because we not only focus on the tracks, but also on the catenary, on the surroundings, and on the communication networks. And all this data goes to a cloud platform where it is further post-processed, and we try to detect possible failures, anomalies, and things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, then, Unai. So we'll say goodbye. Good luck with your meeting that you have now with a Kai. And I'll bring on Bhishma from Clever Social Devices. We've also got your screen. So Bhishma, I'll be back in 3 minutes. Okay. Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here to present Clever Solar Devices and our photovoltaic 4.0, who simplify the operational maintenance on photovoltaic industry, bringing up the opportunity to reduce 70% of the operational costs and recover production 15% thanks to the patented IoT sensors that collect a high quality data. Today, the operational maintenance is performed mainly by hand, once or twice per year. It's highly dependent on manual processes, and it impacts on revenue leakage because the efficiency itself of the production. So the maintenance is impacting on production. So why we not automatize this process with real-time data, updated, accurate, and with precision to maximize, well, at the end, the business decisions, having all the information updated and looking forward to maximize the profitability. So this is what we are doing in Clever Solar Devices. We have this small device that collects high quality data for diagnosis and, well, simplify in a graphical way for maintenance on different installation, independently on how is the installation, is a big one, the utility one, or is a spread one, it should be maintained. And well, as you know, the business is stable, growing during the 5 last years, 21% year over year, and is expected to grow 21% the following years. This is because, independently on the fluctuations of the residential market, utility installations still are stable and is the big part of the market. We are looking forward to work with some of the main actors in energy sector, and we have the good experience with some of them. We have different proof of concepts, and we have, well, different growing customers like Ferrovial, Repsol, Enel, Total Energies, and we are working now to grow the team and start to grow with them through the portfolio, the full portfolio. Our main differentiation is where we measure the information. So while others measure the inverter that summarize the information of all the PV modules that are behind them, we measure exactly the PV module and we know exactly what is happening. This is our main advantage, competitive advantage, and give us the opportunity to exactly know what is happening and quantify the failure. This is the return of investment thanks to use Clever, jumping from 1.1 to 1.6. Our business model is software as a service, depending on how big is the portfolio. This is the lovely team that is working in Clever from very beginning, and we are looking for 400K round. We are delaying this round because now we have recently a grant of 1,200,000 euros, so to speed up all the sales processes. So we are delaying this financial round for the next months, but the truth is that we are very focused now on market growth. So this is what we are doing in Clever Solar Devices. At the end is digitalize one process that is highly manual and move forward to digitalization and automatizing all the information. This is what we call photovoltaics 4.0. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bhishma. Just before we jump, and Tim said thank you, Unai, just so you know. And Bhishma, the question, 6 minutes. Meron, you're good at starting, so if you get started and then jump across to David. I'll be back in 6 minutes.
Yes, super. And thanks for the presentation. It's quite interesting to see what you're working on. What you see in this type of solar digitization is there's always going to be some cost and complexity of the installation, right? How do you intend to deploy so that you can make it at scale? Maybe would be interested to hear if you could answer it from your hardware footprint or whether you're retrofitting.
Thanks for your questions. So this is something that was obsessing us in the past. Our solution is plug and play. So exactly the same connectors, standard connectors used on photovoltaic installations are the ones that we are using to connect the device. The truth is that it's quite simple to retrofit installations, or it's quite simple to start on greenfield, let me say. Depending on where you are on the installation life cycle, you can take advantage of the different information. In the very beginning, you can speed up the commissioning activities, or doing something that is test while building, that speed up the construction of the power installation. And during the maintenance processes on the mid life or end life, help to identify very clearly where are the failures. The device is a credit card size, so it's quite simple. Any kind of technician that works with photovoltaic industry are able to just plug the cables. Is it match? Is the place? Is it doesn't match? Is not the place. So it's as simple as this. So both is yes. Retrofit is simple as on greenfield new installations, and the device is very small, credit card size, inside a plastic box with IP67 that is very important to avoid dust and these kind of things that could happen on those installations.
Yeah, clear. Commercially, I see several POCs, paid POCs in the presentation that you shared. How do you see the sales pipeline? Does it take longer for them to convert to actual customers? How do you see that?
Always take longer than I want. So yes, well, we have the pleasure to have some success stories, like with Ferrovial last year in South Summit, Madrid. By the way, it's public, so if you would like to see it, is recorded and is public. It's a quite long process because it's a strategic decision. So how you can move to digitalize the portfolio, the industry, how you demonstrate that we are already measure what we say, that this is the first question. Hey, I don't believe that you can measure this value that we are measuring by hand. Demonstrate it. And after that is how we evolve. So we learn to have a deadline on pilots. This was on one of the first learnings with Repsol, and we have pilots from 4 months to 6 months, and after that we are converting to incremental pilots or incremental installations. That is, it takes quite long, more than I want, but the conversations we start with those big utilities from very beginning. So now is to look the opportunity to go to find the right moment to start with them.
Clear, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bhishma. And congrats. I think it's a very interesting solution, bringing this granularity to the solar panel, not to the inverter, because at the end is where you get the most information. And somehow I see from your solution that you've cracked the way to get this information in a scalable way with a business model that somehow hardware is not a friction point, because it's somehow embedded into the recurring revenue. But I'm doing an assumption here, but my question is more about go-to-market, because as you were mentioning, these big corporates takes time. Could you tell us a bit about how are you planning go-to-market strategy beyond direct sales?
Let me say that there are two strategies. The first strategy is to work directly with big accounts, like this kind of Ferrovial and these big companies, and it's through account managers. So it's a very personal and close work with them. We have contacts, and it's starting work with them to understand what are the needs they have and see how we better fits their needs. The second thing is how we gain granularities, how we go to the, let me say, smaller installations, very interesting, by the way, like industrial ones. And this is something that we are starting to work, looking for different distributors to gain this granularity and say, hey, we have the platform developed to not be involved in all the sales. So we are working to have this kind of distributors to go to smaller installations. So answering very fast is big accounts, account manager, direct contact with them, smaller accounts through distribution channels.
Clear. Thank you. And do you think talking to the OEMs, no, or directly to the, is a possibility to embed your solution directly into the solar panel? It's maybe a road worth to explore.
This is something that we call smart module, and we are always looking for a good opportunity to jump to this smart module. This is like a smart TV, but in PV module. So if one PV module can diagnose itself, so this is the next step. So the answer is yes.
Okay, so now you have like the solution for the client is Chromecast, let's say, no? And
that's right. This is the perfect comparison. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Bhishma. There's a question again from Antine talking about sort of future upgrades to the system. Thank you, Antine, by the way, for adding some interactivity to the session from the audience. So if you'd like to give him an answer to this. I guess you've given a sort of answer by incorporating it into the solar panels themselves. But
sorry, what is the question?
Well, it just in terms of future upgrades to the system right now. You know,
well,
where you see it going.
I have in the past one very interesting conversation speaking about 1 gigawatt installations in Australia. The person was commenting to me that takes only half day to the teams to go from one place to another place. So here the reflection or the thought is, okay, if we need to improve ourselves, if we would like to involve robotics, if we would like to be more efficient in some way, we need to measure the reality. And here is clever to measure what is happening on the PV modules that at the end is the power source of the photovoltaic installations. It's not the inverter itself. The inverter is summarizing information and don't know exactly what is happening with the generator. So this is our advantage comparing with other technologies. We now are auditing how is working the inverter, how is working the sun trackers, how are working the different instrumentation on the installation that now is, let me say, in open loop.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So Bhishma, we'll say goodbye to you. Thank you for the presentation. And we'll bring on Jorge from Greemko. So Jorge is actually the last one because we've had two that have fallen through. So that's why I've given a little bit more time for the questions as well with the other ones. So Jorge, if you'd like to start sharing your screen.
Perfect.
We've lost.
No, I'm here, right?
You're still here. We've lost David, so I'll bring you back on when he connects back up. So Meron, it's all you.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Meron. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that he joins soon, but also to keep on time, I will move forward.
Sounds good.
I'm Jorge Portillo. I'm CEO and co-founder of Greemko, Green Management Technology. We are a startup based here in Madrid, and we are glad to participate at Bind 4.0 since we have been able to look up 5 different projects for working with corporations and one of them with SMEs. That gives you a little bit of the idea of what kind of urgency and necessity while our solution brings to the market. And it's not only the market; it's also about the. Thank you, David. Welcome back. I was just kick off. I was telling Meron that we were very happy to participate at Vine. We lock up 5 projects among different 4 corporations and 1 SME. So we are very happy to participate, and that gives you an idea of the necessity of our solutions in the market, but also for the planet. Okay, we are working in order to facilitate corporations to decarbonize and facilitate them on their path towards sustainability. Okay, but unfortunately, environmental departments from companies looks like the accountability department 30 years ago. No technology, the data was not used for anything but for reporting. Right, so that's why we create Greemko. It's a one-stop solution for environmental aspect of the company, which allows companies to do all the environmental management. Consequence of doing this environmental management, they can calculate automatically the carbon footprint of the 3 scopes. Okay. Also, we facilitate them to start doing this reduction and mitigation plan. That is something also requested by different international standards, but also by national regulation. And of course, reports and third-party verification in one place in order to comply with different standards. Our software is certified under the two main standards for carbon footprint calculation, which is the GHG protocol and the ISO 40064, which also, as you presume, gives you a lot of confidence about our solution and our standards. Regarding the technology, there is no need to introduce data manually in our software. We have developed a proprietary algorithm that collects automatically the data from different sources, from physical evidence like invoices for the utilities, but also, of course, we can connect with the different ERPs of large companies, APIs, and so on. We are also working on AI in order to increase efficiency and reduce times on the onboardings in order to be ready to scale. We have, with some of our customers, dedicated to analyze this. We like to say that we reduce the operation times between 50 and 85% because we have many different functionalities and models. So depending on which models you contract, you will reduce more or less times for those sources. We are working in 12 different sectors at the time. We offer services in more than 40 countries to our customers who are mainly Spanish. You can see some of our partners. We recently have signed contracts with Clese, one of 80,000 employees group from ACS. Regarding industrials, we have been also working with Onera. We are working with GH Cranes and many other different industrial companies. Just to give you an idea of some projects, for example, we are working with investor managers, and here this is very commercial regarding my pitch, because I presume that also your portfolio needs to do all these calculations. So I'm happy to talk to you how we help you to look better, brighter, in order for also for your exit. We do all the portfolio for Suma Capital. It's over 1 billion euro assets under management. Also, we lock up a public tender for a 1 million euro contract. We are also working with logistic companies like Noatum, a 2 billion euro revenue company, and also we lock up for events. One of the promoters of events like Fitur, which is one of the largest tourism events in the world. I mean, the market opportunity is huge. You might heard about this a lot with the stop the clock and so on, but the truth is that companies are decide to do this, and there is a royal decree here in Spain that makes an obligation by law for large companies, and also they are working with their supply chain, but also for events, as I mentioned, also for the reference that we have for IFEMA. Okay, we are a 17 people team. We are 3 founders. We are a bootstrap company. We didn't do any investment round to date. We started in live from our customers. Okay, experience. I mean, I
Okay,
started
I'm
studying
gonna-
environmental science like my co-founder. I started studying environmental science in ¡97, and the
Jorge,
service and the
I'm-
solution is our key elements. Thank you very much.
Okay, I was going to cut
Thank
you
you,
off.
Tom.
All right, no worries.
Perfect.
It's all yours. You've got 6 minutes.
Since you said that we have time, I was taking a little bit of more time.
I know. That's why I was sort of doubting whether to cut you off or to leave you go, and I thought it carried on a little bit too much. And I thought, okay, I'll cut it off. Anyway, you've got 6 minutes, guys.
Thank you,
yours.
Tom. No, perfect.
No
Thank you
worries.
very much.
Super. David, would you like to start or shall I go?
Okay, I can go. Thank you, Meron. Thank you, Jorge, for the presentation. One question that I have is that last years, very linked to regulation, we've seen solutions on the compliance part of it, of reporting, auditing, and somehow we've seen like a second wave where these solutions are trying to focus on specific verticals or even on a specific costs, like IT, for instance, solutions specifically tailored to IT. I would like to understand from you, where is your competitive advantage, or where are you focusing that you are doing differently from the competitors already in the market?
Okay. Thank you very much, David, for the question. The very first thing that I would like to say is that we are not a compliance or reporting software. We are a management software. Okay. Our focus as an environmental scientist or environmental degree, our user is the environmental technician. Okay. We could say that environmental management, like the ISO 40001, it's a management system for environment that exists for many, many years. And all these technicians are doing it in spreadsheets by hand. Okay. So we are saving a lot of time on this to this environmental technician. So that's our users, that's our customers. And then from our softwares, we are able to, through APIs, feed other solutions that are more focused on compliance and report. So we have seen that our solution has a very niche market, which is complementary to other solutions existing in the market, for example, for ESG or for CSRD and so on, since we are talking. And actually, many of them are also approaching us because they need a very focused on solution with strong expertise on this. So I would like to say that we are complementary to this, to most of the solution. Of course, there are some competitors. And also, I would like to say that we are focusing in railway, and we are focusing in industrials companies. At the moment, we are working with Renfe and Talgo, but we are also working with Metro de Madrid, with Metro de Lisboa, and some other companies in the sector. Regarding industrial companies, we are working, as I mentioned before, with some large companies here in Spain, like Grupo Onera, Siemens Energy, Wascor Energy. And these are the industrial plants have a lot of environmental management to manage, environmental data to manage. So they see our solution as a great point to consolidate all the data to have established, and there is always a lot of traceability for verification purposes.
So Jorge, if I understand well, your core value proposition is data gathering, and then you build an ecosystem around it of solutions to do different things as reporting, traceability, or even action plans. Am I right?
Yes, David. that could summarize well our proposal.
Okay, and in this data gathering, how do you bring scalability? Because at the end, I can imagine that every client is different.
Yes. Yes, this is something that it's not easy, as you say. We are our proprietary algorithm. It's able to capture and gather data from many different sources. And our algorithm, we are, as I mentioned before, we are implementing AI also in order to do that onboarding of all that evidence and data in a more easy way. Scalability, as you might know, it's a keystone for all startups. We are working in these last 2 years, but I believe that with our 7 people for software development, we are doing a lot of improvements in this sense.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Quite interesting to read into. Would like to go back to how you gather your data source, your primary data source, and integrate them.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, environmental data could be quite messy. So how
Mm-hmm.
reliable is your underlying data, and then how do you validate it?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Meron, for your question. What we do when we start with a company is we do an environmental diagnosis, what we call. So we have worked a lot in the operations with the company. So in order to do this environmental data map, in order to know what evidence do the company have in order to be validated. For example, electricity, well, it's very simple. You need the electricity invoice. As simple as that. But who has this invoice? In which software system does this invoice is? Or who does this invoice reach when it goes to the company? Where does it go? So we are able to work in the company in the onboarding in order to do all this operation to see where is the evidence, who collects the evidence, in which system it is, in order to automatize the operation so those evidence also reach our software. And then once is in our software captures all the data automatically. So then the environmental technician only has to get into the software and validate the data. Okay, so it's not only having a centralized software in order to do the all the environmental management. It's also helping on all the operations from the raw data to the reporting data. Okay, I don't know if I hope that I explained myself clear.
Yeah. Clear. And one of the features that you mentioned is the forecasting engine work, right? What's the accuracy of that?
Well, what we do with the mitigation and reduction plan is that we allow companies, we facilitate companies in order to do multiple reduction plans. Okay, so they can do, they can simulate if they do different reduction investments or activities, how much would that result? Okay, on that sense, this is also something difficult to scale because we don't do consultancy services. We don't get into we don't visit the companies, of course. Okay, so this is something that we are working in order to do improvements. But this is a solution that these companies use them by themselves because they are the ones who knows better how their company works. Okay.
Yeah, clear.
All right. Thank you very much, Jorge. There's one last question from team who hasn't let us down. He's made a question for each one. So you've answered it a little bit. He's talking about where you use AI in the process, but if you'd like to elaborate on that in any way.
Yep. Thank you very much for the question. the good about and the bad thing about AI is that it can be used in so many things. So we have been working in very specific we are looking on working on finding a specific points of all the operations where AI could help us. So at the moment, our algorithm works that we tell the algorithm where the data has to be collected from the evidence. Okay, so what we are working now with the AI is that let's say the new algorithm, it's able to learn by itself. Okay, so in data collection from the evidence, we have seen great improvements in order to reduce the time that we use on the onboarding. Okay, that's a very specific point that where we are working, but we have many other different projects in order to introduce AI in very specific needs.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that, Jorge. And just to finish off, thank you very much, Meron. Thank you very much, David, for your questions. We finished a little bit earlier today for this issue with the two startups. And I hope you found it interesting and hope to have you back again next year. So thank you.
Likewise, thanks for organizing and for all the startups at Pitch too.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.